and gentlemen, Erev Tov, good evening. Welcome to Ben-Gurion University of the Negev. We are assembled here today at the Joya Claire Sonnenfeld Auditorium for the 53rd Annual Board of Governors meeting, conferment of honorary doctoral degrees. My name is Ori Isaac. I was born in Jerusalem to a religious family, was educated in a yeshiva, served the country as a combat soldier in an Air Force commando unit, and these days I'm a TV news anchor. I am very thrilled to be with you for this special event. I would like to remind everyone to silence their phone at this time. The ceremony this evening will begin with the academic procession. Kindly rise and remain standing until the procession has concluded. Please refrain from applause until all members of the Presidium are seated. I am now pleased to invite the members of the Presidium to come before this assembly. The procession will be led by the deans of the university faculties and by senior members of the academic administration. Professor Raz Jelinek, Vice President and Dean for Research and Development. Professor Dudi Bar-Tzvi, Dean of the Kreitman School for Advanced Graduate Studies. Professor Orna Almog, Dean of Students. Professor Nadav Davidovich, Vice Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, standing in for the Dean, Professor Angel Porgado. Professor Avi Levy, Dean of the Faculty of the Engineering Sciences. Professor Miki Malul, Dean of the Guilford Glazer Faculty of Business and Management. Professor David Vetstein, Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences. Professor Daniel Lemkov, Dean of the Faculty of Natural Sciences. Professor Noam Weisbrod, Director of the Jacob Blaustein Institutes for Desert Research. Professor Yaniv Poria, Dean of the Eilat Campus. Professor Gal Debouton, Vice Rector. Professor Timor Melamed, Pro-Rector for Education. I am now pleased to invite Ellen Marcus and Tony Young, Vice Chairs of the University's Board of Governors, to join the procession. I am now pleased to invite Lloyd Goldman, Chairman of the Board of Governors. Yarom Ariav, Chairman of the Executive Committee. Professor Chaim Hames, Rector of the University. And Professor Daniel Chamovitz, President of Ben-Gurion University of the Negev, to join the procession and be seated on the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to invite our honorary doctorate recipients to join the procession and take their seats on stage. Dr. Segenet Kelemu, Kenya. Professor Menachem Elimelech, Israel and the United States. Esther Halperin, Switzerland. Justice Professor Elyakim Rubinstein, Israel. And Dr. Chelsea Clinton, United States. Please be seated. Ben-Gurion University of the Negev is a beacon of knowledge, inspiring people to get involved and make a difference. The people who make up this university are determined to realize the vision of Israel's first Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, and work their hardest to ensure a better future for the Negev, for Israel, and for the world. We are gathered here tonight to express our deep admiration to a few unique individuals, outstanding leaders in their fields, who share our belief in tikkun olam, repairing our world by bestowing upon them honorary doctoral degrees. I call upon the president of Ben-Gurion University of the Negev, Professor Daniel Chamovitz, to address the assembly.
My name is always challenging. Dear members of the Board of Governors, guests, faculty, and the entire BGU community, it is an immense honor for us to be here with you tonight. Each year, the Selection Committee and the University Senate put in an enormous effort to carefully select individuals who embody the legacy of David Ben-Gurion and his vision of a Hebrew Oxford in the Negev. This year, I want to emphasize the value of renewal. David Ben-Gurion himself lived a life full of turbulence, faced numerous obstacles and crises, yet he always found a way to reinvent himself, his way of thinking, and his many enterprises. He was an innovator by nature, an entrepreneur at heart, and his most lasting startup venture of 75 years is, of course, the State of Israel. Similarly, all of you dear laureates, citizens of the world from diverse fields of activity, embody the spirit of constant innovation and reinvention. You make a profound difference in the world, and I have no doubt that Ben-Gurion would have been referring to you when he spoke of pioneers and of the pioneering spirit capable of guiding them. Ben-Gurion understood that change is the essence of life, and that, in his words, the world does not stop for a moment. These insights highlight the importance of constant renewal in every aspect of life. And at Ben-Gurion University, we tirelessly strive for renewal, which is a key to excellence. Embracing change leads to new knowledge that alters reality, and creativity and entrepreneurship allow us to break boundaries. Only through constant renewal and the courage to change our perspective can we discover and build new worlds. Dr. Chelsea Clinton, and I have to go off script for a second, it is by no means taken for granted that after breaking your foot by chasing your 3-year-old around, you would be here with us today. Thank you very much. I am sure that you would accept David Ben-Gurion as a trustee of the Clinton Foundation, given his early support for public health and gender equity. On January 1st, 1965, he wrote, "National health insurance will be provided to all citizens." And 12 years earlier, 5 years after Israel declared itself into independence and fought a bitter war for its survival, Ben-Gurion was bothered by the wording of the new tax code, which he felt belittled women. Section 4, Ben-Gurion wrote to his colleagues, says husband and wife, which in Hebrew has ownership and status connotations. And he continues, and in my opinion, it should say man and woman. Dr. Clinton, your leadership in these fields, whether through the foundation, your work in Columbia University's Mailman School of Public Health, or through the books you have written for young readers, is making the world a better place. Dear Angelina Drehy, your father Patrick must have been influenced by David Ben-Gurion, who said in 1960, all new immigration, all the pioneering youth, all entrepreneurship should be directed to the Negev. The Drehy Innovation and Entrepreneurship Building in our new North Campus will produce a new generation of young entrepreneurs who will fulfill Ben-Gurion's dream. And David Ben-Gurion probably had Professor Meni Elimelech in mind when he wrote in 1956, when Eli was only a baby here in Beersheba. Only because of outdated ways of thinking originating in the past does it seem to us that the Negev is doomed to remain desolate forever. There are abundant sources of water that we have not used until now because we did not know the secret of their use. But what we did not know until yesterday does not mean that we will not know tomorrow as well. Your eminent leadership in international water science and your mentorship of the Zuckerberg Institute for Water Research at our Stable Care campus has had a profound effect on our university, on Israel, and on the world. And dear Esther Halperin, you embody what I affectionately call BGU royalty. And please forgive me if I'm embarrassing you with this. Together with your late husband, Michel, you established Keren Moshe. And over 60 years ago, Ben-Gurion said, there was a time when being a chalutz, when being a pioneer, was the settlement of the frontier in the Negev. But pioneering must be seen as a teacher, a doctor, and an engineer who settles in the Negev for the sake of enriching the cultural and social life of immigrant communities. The Keren Moshe Leadership Training Program fulfills this dream by empowering residents of the Negev and the young leaders shaping the future of Israeli society. And Ben-Gurion, who wrote in 1950 that self-sufficiency of food is the question of our lives and our existence, would be thrilled to have my dear friend, Dr. Segenet Kelemu, as an honoree at our university. From your humble beginnings in an isolated Ethiopian village, you have become one of the most influential women in Africa through your selfless work to promote food security and agricultural self-sufficiency. This is a prime example of science harnessed for the greater good. And Ben-Gurion once wrote, Jerusalem will be the seat of the Supreme Court of mankind, which will resolve all conflicts as Isaiah prophesied. Well, while this prophecy is yet to be fulfilled, in the words of Menachem Begin, there are judges in Jerusalem. And we are blessed that among these are Justice Professor Elyakim Rubinstein, who I have no doubt could also sit in the Supreme Court of mankind. What is little known among his many achievements is that Justice Rubinstein had an important hand in bringing Ben-Gurion's archives to our university's campus at Stable Care. In these, shall I say, interesting times, we look to you for moral courage, for inspiration, and hope. and you, the women and men on whom will be bestowed the Doctoral Honoris Causa in a few minutes, are an illuminating mirror, reflecting all the basic principles that guide our way. You embody the great wealth that characterizes Ben-Gurion University of the Negev. Your acceptance of an honorary doctorate from our university provides us a mirror through which we hope to see a bit of ourselves and honors our institution and what it stands for. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I now call upon Director of Ben-Gurion University of the Negev, Professor Chaim Hames, to deliver his greetings.
Good evening, members of the Board of Government, faculty of Ben-Gurion University of the Negev, honored guests, recipients of the Honorary Doctorate. Why are we all gathered here this evening? What is the purpose of this ceremony? For me, aside from the opportunity to meet and talk with some fascinating people and bestow upon them the highest honor offered by our university, their presence here also provides a moment for reflection, to take a step back from the day-to-day running of this wonderful institution and remind ourselves why what we are doing is so important. One of the things we pride ourselves on in Israel is our democracy, which has played a central role in creating and sustaining our pluralistic society, supporting free speech and the basic premise that everyone is equal under the law. There can be no doubt that Israeli academia in general, and Ben-Gurion University of the Negev in particular, has achieved as much as it has, thanks to a liberal democratic system which places value on education, has in the main supported the crucial concept of academic freedom, and has been prepared to use taxpayers' money to finance basic research. However, these assumptions are no longer a given, and instead of focusing on how to advance our research, recruit brilliant faculty, invest in infrastructure, improve our teaching, and deal with the challenges of ChatGPT and AI, I'll come back to that in a moment, we find ourselves having to defend the foundations that are a must for us to be able to thrive as a leading academic institution. Democracy is under severe strain in Israel, and 75 years of miraculous achievements are under threat. Reform of any judicial system is a necessity and should be an ongoing process, but that is not what this is all about. The current legislation is designed to change the game entirely, not just some of its rules. And while this legislation is being proposed by the present government, thankfully, opposition to it is coming from all quarters, as there is a realization that unbridled power in the hands of any individual or small group with almost no checks and balances will be disastrous for everyone and everything. As a university, we pride ourselves on being a community with a broad spectrum of beliefs and opinions. And we encourage people to express their views if it is done respectfully and is not seditious. In normal times, as a university, we would avoid taking official stands on political issues. However, there are times when one must stand up and be counted. And when it has been made abundantly clear that if legislation is passed, academia is next on the list, we have a responsibility to our constituents, faculty, administrative staff, and students to speak out loudly and clearly. I am proud that following a debate, the Senate of Ben-Gurion University of the Negev stated unequivocally that, and I quote, "The legislation being promoted by the coalition presents a real danger, not just to the future of democracy in Israel, but also for the future of higher education, which is one of the economic and cultural growth engines of the country. There can be no free and vibrant academia without a strong liberal democracy. The harm done to the legal system will allow political intervention in all areas of academic life: budgeting, leadership appointments, academic freedom, and course content and research." End of quote. So, because a university should be a place for open debate and discussion, I decided to have a conversation with ChatGPT, a relatively new member of our community, one that is making a rather large splash and is raising serious concerns about the future of teaching, grading, and research outputs. Having heard that GPT has a sense of humor, I thought that I would ask it for some jokes for my remarks today. I asked, compose a joke about David Ben-Gurion and a university. It came back with, why did David Ben-Gurion enroll at a university? Because he heard that they had courses in how to split seas. I responded, actually, it was Moses, not David Ben-Gurion, who split the sea. Its response was, apologies for the mistake. As an AI language model, I sometimes generate factually incorrect responses. Let me try again. Why did David Ben-Gurion visit a university? Because he heard that they had a course on how to lead a nation without parting any seas. I decided at this point that enough was enough. While ChatGPT's sense of humor, or perhaps its developers, is not to everyone's tastes and needs, and needs some fine-tuning, the potential of AI is scary, and the challenges we face as a university and society are immense. But perhaps there is an opportunity here to remind ourselves what the purpose of a university degree should be. And I quote, raising the intellectual tone of society, or giving a person a clear, conscious view of his or her opinions and judgments, a truth in developing them, and eloquence in expressing them, and to master any subject with facility. That's how John Henry Newman exquisitely put it in 1852. Rather than just to acquire qualifications in relatively specialized fields of knowledge, allowing one to maximize one's potential in the job market. While many disciplines have tended to become very compartmentalized and specialized, the arrival of ChatGPT is a timely reminder that we need to reevaluate constantly what we do and how we teach. We need to step back from the trees and see the forest, to engage with the larger questions that inform what and who we are as human beings, and what our responsibilities are to future generations. As a vibrant and diverse university which seeks to provide its graduates with the best degree possible, including skills and tools needed to contribute to the economy and society, we need to be engaging more openly with our students about questions dealing with democracy and civil society, the meaning and quality of life, ethics, justice, beliefs, and social welfare. The horrendous ongoing war in the Ukraine and rapid climate change are reminders that we need to broaden their horizons about history, philosophy, ethics, fundamentals of logic and science, and other subjects which provide conceptual and ideational frameworks that can be used to evaluate and understand our world. These conversations in the classroom and elsewhere have to be part of the core of what we, as a leading university in Israel and the world, see as our mission, to improve quality of life. And we need to do that through continuously asking questions about everything, taking nothing for granted, being prepared to admit that we do not have all the answers, but that we are devoted to searching for them through continuing engagement, debate, and discussion. I would like to congratulate the remarkable individuals sitting here on stage that we are honoring tonight with the degree of Doctor Honoris Causa. Each and every one of you are role models with distinguished records of creativity, vision, leadership, and excellence, who have, each in his or her own field, made a difference and significant contribution, striven to follow their own truths and conscience, and have done what they can to the best of their abilities for the betterment of society and the world. I would like to thank you for doing us the honor and accepting the title of Doctor Honoris Causa from our university. Thank you.
We will now proceed to the conferment of the honorary doctoral degrees. Before each honorary doctorate recipient is called to the podium, a short film will be shown. The recipient will then come forward to receive the degree. The rector will confer the hood, the president will confer the scroll. And so we begin. The university hereby honors Dr. Segenet Kelemu.
I would like to think that I have inspired a lot of young people that anything is possible. You can come from a village with nothing to being a leading scientist that runs a leading research center. I was born and raised in a village called Finote Salam in Ethiopia, a village which had no electricity, no running water, and no sign of any modern life. But it was a great community where everybody raised everybody's child. The village always encountered a lot of difficulties. It is a small village, largely a farming community. So farming is a very difficult profession. So I remember once a locust and armyworm also completely devastating the crops. Really hard life. When pests and diseases come and wipe the crops, then you have nothing else left to survive on. So that also shaped what I wanted to do in life, what I wanted to study to help resolve some of those issues. I am passionate about really helping people. I'm passionate about what I do, science, because the power of science, the power of research, the magnitude is huge. So I'm absolutely dedicated to using the power of science to uplift society. As a CEO of ICIPE, the International Center of Insect Physiology and Ecology, this is the only center on the globe that is focused on insects and addresses a lot of issues that are interlinked for the environment, for the ecosystem. This just fits perfectly with my lifetime vision and dedication to come in and do a lot of things and manage a lot of interrelated issues that affect humanity. What is inspiring about BGU is their focus on the research agenda on issues that matter globally, on desert issues, desert studies, environmental studies. When I learned that I'm a recipient of Honorary Doctorate from Ben-Gurion University, I was really excited and honored. The achievement of an individual, particularly of a CEO, of a senior scientist, is the achievement of many people. It's good for me, it's good for my staff, it's good for Recipients, it's good for Africa to be recognized in this manner. So, of course, I'm very, very pleased to do that.
I call upon Dr. Segenet Kelemu to approach center stage. I invite the President and Rector to join her. Ben-Gurion University of the Negev honors Dr. Segenet Kelemu in recognition of an original and brilliant scientist, CEO of the International Center of Insect Physiology and Ecology, who has for decades applied her remarkable experience and talents to solving fundamental agricultural challenges in Africa and around the world. With admiration for a distinguished biologist who has shed new light on the molecular and genetic pathologies of plants, paving the way for innovative approaches to plant disease and thereby transforming agronomy and nutritional security in developing nations. In homage to a trailblazing researcher and recipient of numerous awards, under whose leadership the Biosciences Eastern and Central Africa Initiative became a central force in advancing Africa's crop and food systems, and with gratitude to an inspiring leader and role model for her steadfast advancement of interdisciplinary collaborative research transcending national boundaries, and her commitment to nurturing breakthrough discoveries that will ensure a more sustainable and secure future for all humanity, by conferring upon her the degree of Doctor Philosophia Honoris Causa. Toda, Dr. Kelemu. The university hereby honors Professor Menachem Elimelech.
I really believe in the value of work ethics. If you work hard, you enjoy your work, the rest will come naturally. I grew up in Beersheba to parents who immigrated from Morocco. My parents had no formal education. I lived less than 100 meters from the northern fence of the university. Indeed, all the area between my elementary school and the Soroka Medical Center, this is the area where the university is nowadays, was all the playing ground for us. I can think about a few events that really shaped who I am today. Growing up in a poor family that was on welfare, really motivated me to work hard and do well. My high school, I went to a boarding school. It's called Ben-Shemen Youth Village, and it was a school that we worked 3 times a week in the field, agricultural school, and then studying. So I think this taught me how to live independently and appreciate work. And lastly, I think my military service. I was an officer in the Israeli Air Force, and I was really fortunate to be with very well-educated people that really motivated me to do well. So my area of research is on membrane technologies that can transform unconventional water sources to really high-quality drinking water. This is really a very important area of research because water scarcity that become worse due to climate change. My main goal or mission of my research is really to advance membrane technologies by reducing their cost and energy consumption. And if we do it, really this can be a very sustainable solution to global water scarcity. If you talk about my passions, of course, research is my main passion, but especially I'm passionate about mentoring PhD students and postdocs. I really enjoy seeing their professional growth while they are students or postdocs, and later during their career to see how they really grow professionally and some of them become even very famous. I'm very proud about my relationship with Ben-Gurion University. I was in the scientific advisory board of the Zuckerberg Water Research Institute since its establishment about 20 years ago, and I'm very proud that it became a very, very well-known institute all over the world. In fact, 2 of my postdocs are now faculty at the Ben-Gurion University in this institute. Ben-Gurion University means a lot to me. It's the pride of my hometown, Beersheba. It's a major research university that becomes well-known all over the world, and it's a major research center in Israel on desalination and wastewater reuse. I'm honored and humbled to receive this recognition, and this is really special to me because I grew up just a few meters from the university.
I call upon Professor Menachem Elimelech to approach center stage. I invite the President and Rector to join him. Ben-Gurion University of the Negev honors Professor Menachem Elimelech with appreciation for an outstanding scientist whose invaluable contributions to chemical and environmental engineering have left an indelible mark on water research specifically and the planet as a whole, with appreciation for a distinguished researcher who studies on advanced membrane-based technologies and the use of nanomaterials in water systems have paved the way for theoretical and applied breakthroughs in the treatment and reuse of potable water, with esteem for his profound and prolific scholarship, whose impact extends beyond the boundaries of academia to reshape contemporary practices of environmental protection and sustainability. With admiration for a venerable member of the National Academies of Engineering of the United States and China, extensively cited and honored with many awards, who founded one of the world's leading programs in environmental engineering at Yale University. And with gratitude for his tireless efforts to expand the boundaries of science, his commitment and dedication to nurturing countless students and scientists, and his crucial contributions to the sustainable production of energy in service of future generations, by conferring upon him the degree of Doctor Philosophia Honoris Causa. Mazal tov, Professor Elimelech. And now, we are delighted to be joined by Valerie Hamati, an inspiring Israeli singer. Valerie grew up in Jaffa and began her musical career at the age of 7. She participated in a popular talent show 2 years ago, and people all over Israel fell in love with her unique voice and approach to music. Valerie will perform the classic spiritual song written by legendary singer-songwriter Leonard Cohen, Hallelujah.
لست أدري ما تراني ظلمة تغمرني يا رب الأرض ضاقت والسماء وقلبي معرفة والدم بات يبكي يا إلهي يا But all I've ever learned from love was how to shoot somebody who outdrew you. And it's not a cry that you hear at night. It's not someone who's seen the light. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. Of course, we look forward to enjoying your voice again later. The university hereby honors Esther Halperin.
I'm so impressed by the energy and the achievements of this country. My husband and I were always strong supporters of the state of Israel. I was born in Morocco, in the city of Fez, in a traditional Jewish family. I left Morocco in 1962 and went to Geneva to study economics. I got married in 1972 with Michel Halperin. I think in 1985, Michel's father invited us to visit Ben-Gurion University, and we fell in love with this young university. And we really were keen to do something for the region and for the university. We thought that the future of Israel was in the south. In 1989, my husband became president of the Swiss Friends of Ben-Gurion University. Michel and we created a private foundation. The Keren Moshe Leadership Training Program was created and started to give scholarships. This program has two aims. One is to form young leadership among students and to help the community by asking them to participate to social activities to help the community of Beersheba. These students are active in more than 30 welfare organizations in the city of Beersheba. It's always wonderful excitement to come, to see all the people we meet here, to see the development of the universities, all the new buildings, all the projects. It's wonderful. When I heard that they will give me an honorary doctorate, I thought first to my husband, because we used to come together, to work together, and if you allow me, I will share this honor with Michel. I was present to so many similar ceremonies, honoring outstanding people, and I hope I deserve it.
I call upon Esther Halperin to approach center stage. I invite the president and rector to join her. So, in case you were wondering, these enthusiastic students are from the Keren Moshe Leadership Training Program, a program that Esther Halperin established here at BGU. Thank you very much, students. Ben-Gurion University of the Negev honors Esther Halperin in homage to a generous and noble woman who shares the vision of Ben-Gurion University of the Negev and led by her faith in the human spirit, selflessly devotes her time and efforts to worthy causes, including education and higher learning. In recognition of a leading figure in the university's Swiss Friends Association since its establishment, for her unwavering commitment and years of activity and involvement in Switzerland's Jewish community and organizations. With appreciation for a member of the university's Board of Governors, who together with her late husband, Michel Halperin, established the Keren Moshe Leadership Training Program to empower residents of the Negev and the young leaders shaping the future of Israeli society. To a cherished friend who has made support for Ben-Gurion University a family tradition. With gratitude for her unstinting philanthropy enabling the university's development, the advancement of research, and the welfare of its students, thereby leaving an indelible mark on this institution, the Negev, and the state of Israel as a whole, by conferring upon her the degree of Doctor Philosophia Honoris Causa. Thank you, Esther. Thank you very much. The university hereby honors Justice Professor Elyakim Rubinstein.
For me, the public service has been a lifetime mission, I would say. My late mother used to say, the country is not yet finished being built. She, in fact, encouraged me to join the government service. I was born in Tel Aviv in 1947. My late mother came to the country at the age of 8 in 1922. And my late father came in 1943. Throughout World War II, he lost his family, most of it in the Holocaust. I think I'm now maybe the only living person in Israel that participated in all negotiations with all our 5 neighbors, that is with Egypt, with Lebanon. We had an agreement which didn't succeed. with Jordan, with the Palestinians before Oslo, and with Syria. One amazing moment was to be at the airport when President Sadat landed here in November 77, just 4 years after the Yom Kippur War. The idea that the President of Egypt would land here and declare we wish to make peace, seeing that plane landing, that were the wings of history to that extent. One of my first academic articles was on Ben-Gurion, Ben-Gurion, the Arab question. I published it in the 70s. It was the Negev University at the time, and after Ben-Gurion died, there was the idea of naming it after him because he, as you know, moved to the Negev, to a kibbutz, De Boker, where some of the university facilities are also located. There was a negotiation going on between Ben-Gurion's estate and the university, and I was asked as a lawyer in the Ministry of Defense to help negotiating that with the university. And that was really a nice experience in the mid-70s somewhere. And my daughter graduated from Ben-Gurion University. I was very moved when I got the phone call from the university president, Professor Chaimovich, suggesting this honor, and I'm grateful.
I call upon Justice Professor Elyakim Rubinstein to approach center stage. I invite the President and Rector to join him. Ben-Gurion University of the Negev honors Justice Professor Elyakim Rubinstein in honor of a most eminent justice who has devoted his life to serving the State of Israel and upholding its legal system and democracy. To a former Deputy President of the Supreme Court with profound gratitude for the sensitivity, wisdom, determination, and dedication with which he served the nation's leaders in central public roles for over 4 decades, including as Cabinet Secretary under 4 governments, legal advisor to the Defense Establishment and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the challenging and demanding role of Attorney General. In acknowledgement of a key figure in peace talks and the implementation of agreements between Israel and its neighbors, including Egypt, Lebanon, Jordan, Syria, and the Palestinian Authority, who also took part in negotiations formalizing Israel's relations with its strategic partner, the United States. To the founder of the Authority for Prevention of Violence, Alcohol, and Drug Abuse, and recipient of numerous awards and honors, with appreciation for his commitment to civil rights, his uncompromising love for the Hebrew language, and his pleasant and peaceful manner, and with sincere admiration for his commitment to the welfare of all walks of Israeli society and upholding integrity, truth, and justice by conferring upon him the degree of Doctor of Philosophia Honoris Causa. Thank you, Toda, Professor Rubinstein. I'm happy to invite Valerie Hamati back to the stage. Valerie will perform a classic Lebanese song, Bil Alb Khalini, Keep Me in Your Heart, song and lyrics by Majida Rumi.
اللي نسينا الكون واللي ضلي 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 ولو فاكر الحب بعينينا ولو داب شمع الليل حوالينا اللي بنلعب بإيدينا حبيبي حبيبي ولو فاكر الحب بعينينا ولو داب شمع الليل حوالينا اللي بنلعب بإيدينا حبيبي حبيبي Thank you, תודה רבה.
And now for our final honoree of the evening. The university hereby honors Dr. Chelsea Clinton.
I say to my children that I think the two most important things in life are to be brave and to be kind. To be brave and to be kind for yourself, to yourself, and for others. I certainly try to be brave and kind every day. When I was a young girl, in my father's presidential campaign headquarters, the nightly news was on, and they showed a clip of Magic Johnson's press conference in which he acknowledged that he was HIV positive. And I remember the journalists commenting afterwards how courageous he'd been, how brave he was to own his status, and then thinking, why is bravery required kind of when you're just talking about your health? And that prompted my kind of now lifelong, many-decadal commitment to kind of better understand what shapes our public and individual health and carve out a way to hopefully make a positive difference in helping to protect and promote public health and to obliterate stigma. Feels like there's just so much yet to do, so much ahead. While I am incredibly proud of the very small role that I have played, here at the Clinton Foundation, I still feel like there's just so much more to do, and I think I inherited that from my parents. I fundamentally believe that we are citizens every day, not just on an election day or not just in an election year. And thankfully feeling like there are many important ways to make a difference, including, of course, who's in office, but also including the choices that all of us who are not in office make every day. I am deeply passionate about public health. I'm deeply passionate about protecting women and girls. I'm deeply passionate about doing whatever I can. The nomenclature that I sometimes explain what I do to my kids of trying to stop bad things from happening and help good things happen and help everyone kind of lead their best life story. My personal goal in my work here at the Foundation is to help empower as many people as possible to lead their best, healthiest, and most productive lives. I remember when I was a little girl and my parents went to Israel and came back and were talking to me about their trip. And of course, painfully, my most kind of deep memory of Israel is the assassination of Yitzhak Rabin. And I remember thinking it was only the third or fourth time I'd ever seen my father cry.
And Shalom, Javier.
One of the things, maybe the thing I most appreciate about Ben-Gurion University is not just an emphasis, but a commitment to kind of research that can inform action. And I know that that is central to the ethos of Ben-Gurion, and I'm very proud to be receiving an honorary doctorate from an institution that similarly believes that there needs to be a connection between kind of the questions that we're asking and the research that we're pursuing to help Israel, but also ultimately our world, be safer, more sustainable, healthier, more equitable, and more just.
I call upon Dr. Chelsea Clinton to approach center stage. I invite the President and Rector to join her. Ben-Gurion University of the Negev honors Dr. Chelsea Clinton in recognition of the Vice Chair of the Clinton Foundation for her commitment to global health equity, working to improve public health, increase opportunities for girls and women, create economic growth, and inspire emerging leaders across the world. With regard for the Vice Chair of the Clinton Health Access Initiative, which has helped over 11 million people in more than 70 countries access critical HIV/AIDS medications and works across more than 125 countries around the world to build and strengthen sustainable health systems. With admiration for an outstanding public speaker and a prolific and inspiring author, and with appreciation for her expertise as a professor and mentor, and with heartfelt gratitude for her advocacy and action to support children and families, and her tireless commitment to ensuring a better and more just future for all, by conferring upon her the degree of Doctor of Philosophia Honoris Causa. Thank you, Dr. Clinton. Please remain standing. I now invite Dr. Chelsea Clinton to the podium to speak on behalf of the honorary degree recipients.
Thank you. Goodness. Thank you, Ori. Thank you to everyone for your warm welcome and warm applause, and for your forbearance as I move rather slowly but determinedly with my broken foot. I am deeply honored and humbled to accept this degree alongside such a distinguished group of honorees, and I hope it is not presumptuous, given I met all of them, with one exception, today, to offer our gratitude collectively to BGU President, Professor Shamowitz, to the BGU Rector, Professor Hams, to all of the university deans, to all of the members of the Board of Governors, to the members of the academic administration and faculty, to everyone here in the Ben-Gurion University community, to Valerie for her hauntingly beautiful performance. I have heard many renditions of Hallelujah, and that was an especially poignant and moving one, capturing Leonard Cohen's both elegy and hope for all of us. And really, just what an honor to be in an academic institution so proudly and fiercely standing up for academic freedom. As you heard me say in the video, I am proud to be receiving this honorary degree from an institution that understands the importance of forging a connection between the questions we ask, the research we conduct, what we teach our students, and that we hopefully empower our students to go out and do in the world. As you heard from Professor Hams when he was not talking about ChatGPT, and I will say parenthetically, the only time I've used ChatGPT was when I asked it to compose a Valentine to my husband in the theme of Game of Thrones, and it articulated something like, "Oh, dragon of my hearts." So I think that perhaps, Professor Hams, you just asked it too serious a question. But as the professor, the rector articulated, not only do I believe the purpose of academic institutions is to collectively raise the knowledge level for a community, a society, to kind of edify a single student's understanding of kind of what their hopes and dreams are with the knowledge to best pursue those. But also to me, an academic institution's highest mission, arguably, is to foster lifelong curiosity and learning, and to understand that the best expression of that curiosity and that desire to learn has to include learning from others with different expertises, life experiences, and viewpoints than our own. And for that mission to be successful, academic institutions must exist in an environment in which equal protections, equal treatment, equal rights are all honored and undergirded by a democracy with free and fair elections. And I think it was the president who said that we are living in interesting times. I once had a student tell me she wanted to live in more interesting times. And I said I would like to live in less interesting times. Because right now, democracy is under threat around the world. And the global movement to roll back civic and human and academic rights and freedoms is once again starting with attacking women, members of the LGBTQ+ community, religious and racial minorities, and teachers, professors, and researchers. When governments use their power to shrink rather than broaden access to education, health, security, and economic opportunity for any portion of the population, it has a destructive effect on entire societies. And particularly those of us in university settings like this one, and including this one, have a responsibility to push back against governments that infringe upon our inherent, and what we say in the United States, inalienable rights, and also to be part of work to help protect lives and livelihoods when we're able and called to do so. And I know that BGU faculty, students, and alumni have done so time and time again when it comes to combating climate change, improving public health, and preserving and protecting democracy. At the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, one BGU alum, Dr. Karine Yanev, led the BGU Corona Task Force in partnership with the Israeli Ministry of Health to spearhead a project to detect COVID in wastewater, which became ultimately a vital tool for the government to help monitor the spread of the disease and to respond more quickly when it appeared. Dr. Shimrit Maman, another BGU graduate and director of the Earth and Planetary Image Facility at BGU's Homeland Security Institute, is leading groundbreaking research to use satellite technology for early detection of climate change, and is concurrently using her platform, as I know many faculty and students are, because I had the pleasure of meeting many today, to expand opportunities and mentorship for women and girls in STEM. And these are just two examples of the remarkable work that BGU has helped empower over its many decades. What we're teaching our students right now is a matter of intense debate. In my country, whether or not the science of vaccines and vaccination is settled is contested by many. So too is the reality of climate change. And there are many individuals and large organized efforts in America, some in positions of enormous political, social, and technological power, that are taking extraordinary measures to effectively eliminate large parts of our history, from school curriculum, from the elementary school level to the university level, and from the public consciousness, because parts of our history make them feel uncomfortable, though many who are uncomfortable are those who have often been most comforted throughout the course of American history. There's a concerted effort to tell an imperfect story and ultimately a dishonest story about our country's history. And there's a simultaneous movement to censor and silence voices from the LGBTQ+ community, from communities of color, from women, and from other populations that historically and often still are marginalized. And these efforts to censor personal narrative and history are often voiced by the same people shouting for the protection of all speech in all circumstances, regardless of how hateful, how bigoted, how violent, or how insightful. The hypocrisy is not quiet. But those forces only prevail over the long run if we remain quiet. We who believe that building a more equitable and sustainable future requires having both an honest reckoning about our past and our present, and also an open, honest, collaborative, respectful debate. The work that I am fortunate to do in all parts of my life is not particularly quiet. That doesn't mean that it's brash. I hope it's not boastful. But it has a fierce quality of purpose, as I know is true of so many of the academics, researchers, and students who are pursuing their purpose here at BGU. And I know that none of the work that I'm lucky enough to do, which is based in science, research, evidence, and responsive to ongoing science, research, and evolving evidence, would be possible without our academic partners. When David Ben-Gurion founded this university to create, I've heard, both an Oxford-like institution and a Harvard-like institution. As an Oxford graduate, I would like to claim Oxford, but as an American, I also think Harvard deserves to be in the running. I do not know that he could have foreseen all the work that BGU would support, catalyze, and inspire. It is indeed fitting that BGU calls itself an agent of change, because the status quo everywhere doesn't work as well as it should for everyone. And since its first doors open, I have no doubt that students, faculty, and alums here have been working to change that status quo. I was reflecting on what Justice Professor Rubinstein said in the video of his mother's admonition that the country is not yet done being built. In the United States, we pride ourselves as ever being moving toward a more perfect union. There are a number of forces that would like us to engage in permanent disunion. And so I often reflect on what the great Coretta Scott King, who is too often overshadowed by her husband, the great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., would say to young people, which is that you have to protect and defend and advance progress in every generation. We cannot take for granted where we've been, and we cannot take for granted where we're going. Because while in my country, the forces of disunion often like to point to one of her husband's most famous quotes, that the moral arc of the universe bends towards justice to elicit passivity and inertia. Dr. King and many of the great Americans that I most admire, and I would say humbly is also true of Prime Minister Ben-Gurion, have always understood the moral arc of the universe does not bend on its own. It bends towards justice because of relentless determination by every generation to force it to do so. It is wonderful to be in the company and in the community of so many people who are committed to bending that arc. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Dr. Clinton. To conclude this wonderful evening, I once more invite Valerie to the stage to perform a song written by the beloved Israeli songwriter Ehud Manor. This beautiful song has become a kind of unofficial national prayer expressing hope for a better future for all of us. Halevai.
ומענן תרד עלינו קשת, הלוואי של העולם הזה יש תקנה. من السماء يمطر علينا الخير، يا ريت يغيب الحرب ويجمعنا الحب سوا. של העולם הזה יש תקנה, הלוואי והאדם יהיה רחום הדרך, הלוואי שיש סיכוי אחד לאהבה, הלוואי שלא נכאב ואיש אחיו יאהב, הלוואי ויפתחו שוב שערי גן עדן ויתמזגו מזרח ומערב, הלוואי, הלוואי ונחדש ימינו כאן כקדם. ומענן תרד עלינו קשת, ירד מן السماء يمطر علينا الخير. Thank you very much. It's my honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you again to Valerie Hamati. This concludes our ceremony. Thank you, our distinguished honorees. Thank you. Thank you, university's administration and faculty. And thank you to our wonderful guests for being with us this evening. A dinner reception now be held at the Zlatovsky Student Center. Everyone is invited, of course. All honorees, please remain on stage for a group photo. Toda. Good night and Laila Tov.